that evil came upon all Jerusalem. What was done upon Jerusalem. Daniel's 9 and 13. As it is written in the law of Moses, all this evil is come upon us. Yet may we not our prayer before the Lord our God, or Yahweh, that we might turn from our iniquities, sins, and understand thy truth. Okay? Because, this is all to get the understanding. Okay? Because our people, they seeking to understand why these things are happening to them, but they're not getting it. Why is that? Because they haven't acknowledged that they sinned, that they were doing things that were not pleasing to the Lord, which brought upon these curses on us. Alright? And by these curses being placed on us, now we understand that, okay, this is the truth. It says, therefore have the Lord watched upon the evil and brought it upon us, for the Lord our God is righteous in all his works which he doeth, for we obey not his voice. Okay? Alright? So that's why it's like it is. Okay? This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 16. It says, curse shalt thou be in the city, and curse shalt thou be in the field. Now the city is referring to America. Okay? Because when you read in Revelations, okay, America, which is Babylon the Great, is referred to as that great city, okay, which all nations go to. Okay? But our people, like in this video, they come to America seeking refuge, alright, peace, and what happened? The curses still follow them. So it says, curse shalt thou be in the city, and curse shalt thou be in the field. The field represents the world, okay? Because our people, they're scattered throughout the whole world. And, either if they're here in America, okay, or if they in the farthest part of the earth, on some island, or hell, they could be in Australia and some shit like that, excuse my language, in Australia or something, they still experiencing this, okay, these curses. Alright? Curse shalt thou be in the city, and curse shalt thou be in the field. Okay? Verse 18, it says, curse shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, and the increase of thy kin, and the flocks of thy sheep. Now when it says the fruit of thy body, it's speaking about your children. Okay? And that's what the man made a mention of. He said the children, which that's wicked. They say that the children, because they're born here in America, on this land, for say, they're able to stay here. But the parents, they got to be deported. That's wicked. Okay? Because most of them children be like, they be like elementary age. They're not old enough to take care of themselves. Okay? Or they're not able to legally do things to sustain their way of living here in America. Okay? So, what is being done is basically unrighteous, unjust, wicked act, which the Lord, he's gonna judge the government, all right, and these politicians, all right, and these organizations, and the so-called white man, okay, for all these things, okay, like it or not, because you got Latinos that love the white man. But it's the white man that think you're an immigrant, you need to go back. Okay, so this is Psalms 127:3. It says, lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, okay, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. What's the fruit of your body, or the fruit of the womb? It's your children. Okay, so let's go back. It said curse, excuse me, Deuteronomy 28:18. Okay, it says, curse shall be the fruit of thy body, so your children. Okay, all right. So even these these children are experiencing uh, these these plagues that the Lord is putting on them. Okay, and it says the fruit of thy land and increase of thy kin and the flock of thy sheep. Okay, Amos 7 and 17. It says, therefore thus saith the Lord, or Yahweh, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city. Okay, because that's what usually happens when these Latinos, all right, these Jakes that were born in other parts of the world, they come to America. You know, when I say Jake, I'm talking about you Negros, West Indians, Haitians, Dominicans, indigenous people from Panama to Guatemala, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Seminole Indians, North American Indians, the indigenous people of Brazil, Colombia to Uruguay, the indigenous people Argentina to Chile, indigenous people, and the Mexicans, the indigenous people. Okay, when they come to America, they think, man, this is like they just gonna be golden. But what happened? Okay, a lot of the women end up becoming harlots, man. Your woman become a harlot. She either or they come and then they end up being suckered into becoming being a sex slave or a prostitute. Okay, which that's big. That's real big amongst Latinos, and I did a video series on it, but you know I probably have to put it the thing where you can go watch it on SkyTube because YouTube flagged it. They said it was inappropriate, but they show you in that video that the newest basically the newest attraction for sex predators is Brazil, where they have these Europeans, so basically the white man, he comes down to Brazil to have sex with little boys and girls, and oh man, and sometimes they kidnap them children, or they sucker them in to come into the United States thinking they come in to be a model or whatnot, talking about girls. Then they end up pimping them out. So your woman become a harlot in the city, still talking about America, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword. Okay, that's why your children, it's not really safe here in America. They end up dying at young age, either joining gangs or just in the neighborhoods where they live, because it's just terrible, man. It says thy land shall be divided by line, all right, which, like I said, the Mexicans, they had a good portion of America, California, Texas, Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona. That was their land, and it was divided up by line by the United States when they won in the U.S.-Mexican War, and when they just took the lands by treaties, being the devil. It says thou shalt die in a polluted land, because America's polluted, okay, all around. And it says Israel shall surely go into captivity from his land. Okay, all right, get that real quick. Prove that. Zephaniah 3:1. Okay, it says woe, which woe means destruction, to her that is filthy and polluted, to the oppressing city. And America is an oppressing city for you Latinos. You think it's going to be this beautiful golden place where you come and everything's just peachy, and then you come here and then you're just living in constant fear, all right, and scared because you can get deported, man. Okay. Deuteronomy 28:19 says, cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. Meaning these curses, they gonna be on us until who you really call Jesus Christ come back, whose name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shai. Okay, when he comes back and deliver the children of Israel, the elect of Israel, which is the 1/3, all right, which that's that great multitude of believers, and the 144,000, which are the prophets, which make up the 1/3 of Israel, the elect, that remnant that he's coming to save. That's when those curses will be lifted off of us. Okay, verse 20 says, "The Lord, or Yahweh, shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, and in all that thou settest thy hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me." Okay, you know, all right. That's why it's like it is here in America. Okay, for you Latinos, Native Americans, and Negros. Okay, Deuteronomy 28:28 says, "The Lord, or Yahweh, shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart." What's that madness? The madness is thinking that America's a great place, for you Latinos, Native Americans, and Negroes, when that can be far from the truth, or that Obama is going to change everything, make it positive for you, and under him, the Latinos, Native Americans, and Negroes have caught even more oppression, hell. Okay, been suffering even more under this man than any other president. Okay, and a lot of Latinos, Negroes, and Native Americans voted for this man, thinking that he was going to really change stuff for them, make it better for them, and he has made it worse. And it doesn't look like it's going to get any better this upcoming election, which, that's not going to change anything. Okay, so if you believe that America's all right, or you know uh, it's going to get better, you're mad. Okay, and the Lord smite you with madness, blindness, and astonishment of heart. It says, "Thou shalt grope at noonday, as a blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee." So, that's plain, man. That's why all these so-called, leaders, or politicians, or activist leaders, they try to rise up and make these promises that they gonna save you and whatnot. And what happens? They end up getting put down, meaning they get put to death, or it fizzled out, or it gets infiltrated by the government, and then it just come to naught. Okay, or the people just give up. Okay, why is that? Because that's part of the curse, and you're not gonna prosper here in America. Okay, but you're gonna only be oppressed and spoiled. Okay. Oh, I read verse 30. It says, "Thou shalt betroth a wife," meaning you get you a woman. Okay, you get you a woman, "and another man shall lie with her," tying in what we got in Amos 7:17. So that your wife shall be a harlot in the city. Okay, and that's what's gonna eventually happen. Okay, all right, that's what eventually happens when they do stuff like this. Okay, when they deport the parents away and leave the children here. Okay, what they gonna do? You got people teaching other people outside of your people. Okay, teaching your children to be wicked, because that's what they teach young girls to be here in America, be harlots, man. That's the cool thing. So your daughter, or your wife, okay, she gonna become a harlot in this wicked ass place, man. "Another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein." Because a lot of you Latinos, mainly you Mexicans, you're big in the construction. You building houses, but you're not staying in it. It says, "Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shall not gather the grapes thereof." Okay, so you out there working in the field, and you ain't seeing none of that. When all actuality, you supposed to get, you keep what you plant, you know, you live in, what you build. All right, that's only